Hello and welcome to the Power of Investing in Diversity Entrepreneur Showcase. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you ASU for inviting us to participate. We're so excited to be a part of the Learning Human event. I'm Molly Rowe, an investment associate on the GSV Ventures team, and GSV Ventures is a venture capital fund focused in the learning and talent technology sector, investing from pre-K to gray. We're so excited to support these 8 entrepreneurs and showcase the disruptive businesses they've created. As most of you know, education's at a tipping point, and we believe these diverse founders are well positioned to disrupt education as we know it and increase the quality and access for all. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce my colleague Thea to introduce herself and the first entrepreneur. Thea?
Thanks, Molly. Hi, I'm Thea Knobel, the Vice President of Platform at GSV Ventures. We may not be pitching real tons this year, but we are pitching some incredible startups. I will be introducing the 8 founders who are disrupting the edtech industry. After the pitch, we will ask 1 to 2 questions from the audience, so post your questions in the chat. Without further ado, I would love to welcome Claudia Recchi, the founder of EdSights. Claudia?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I am Claudia. I'm the co-founder of EdSights. I will go ahead and share my screen. So at EdSights, we are using AI-powered texting for student success. So again, we are really trying to rethink how we approach student success by using a chatbot that is powered by artificial intelligence to support students at scale. So our company, at a glance, so we are backed by some of the top tier investors and foundations, including the ECMC Foundation, Techstars. We're currently working with over 40 higher education partners. And actually, since COVID happened, we've seen an increase in demand for our solution, and we've actually doubled our customer base. So let's take a step back and look at the different factors that impact student success. So when we started EdSights, we realized that these factors are often very personal, circumstantial, and very hard to detect on time. So there are things such as a student's sense of belonging, whether a student is struggling to balance taking care of a child and going to college. These are all things that are pretty hard to detect. When we look at the current student success initiatives, most solutions really focus on grades and academic performance to try and flag students who are so-called at risk of dropping out. And so we saw really a disconnect here between the problems that students were facing and the solutions that were on the market. Because first of all, only about 5% of students who drop out do so purely for academic reasons. Second, grades are lagging indicators, so they take some time to go by to identify trends. And by the time that a student has failed 3 courses in a row, chances are it's too late. And then finally, we see poor academic performance really typically as a symptom of a larger problem that the student is facing. It is very rarely the underlying issue. And so at EdSights, we're really rethinking student success because we're using a chatbot that is named after college mascots to engage with students at scale and hear directly from them how their college experience is going so that we can identify the underlying issues that students are facing before it's too late. So I have here an example of a college student's journey of a student who ends up dropping out. So for example, in this case, a student enters college, they're working, and there's a triggering event that happens. So this is a really common scenario. So something like COVID, for example, happens, they lose their job. In this case, it's their employer cuts their hours, they're struggling financially, they get a second job, they're sleep deprived, they start skipping classes, they fail exams, and then eventually they drop out. So traditional retention systems really flag the students by the time that they're failing exams, which, usually by then it's too late. Whereas when we come in, it's a lot earlier. So we can actually identify that the student is struggling when they first have that triggering event happen to them. So for example, their employer cuts their hours, and we can connect them to the best resource for them. So in this case, it could be something like a work-study program. So I have an example of what this actually looks like, what the chatbot looks like from the student perspective. So this is actually an example of a flow that we've used a lot during COVID with a lot of our institutions. So in this case, I forgot to mention the chatbot is named after the school mascot, so it's really friendly. So in this case, Gus the gorilla is checking in with a student to figure out how COVID is impacting them and if it's impacting them negatively. The student says, yes, it is. And so the chatbot asks, okay, well, what is causing this disruption? In this case, it's emotional well-being. So we offer to the student immediately a resource to help with emotional well-being, but then we also allow the student to share a little bit more information about what exactly they're going through so that we can connect them to the best resource for them. And so in this case, the student is really stressed out because they have poor internet connection. And so we are going to share this information with the person at their institution so that they can get the best help for their specific struggle. So this is a pretty short conversation, but you'll understand how we're collecting a lot of data really quickly, and we're also providing value to the student by connecting them to a helpful resource for them. So this is just an example of the type of conversations that we have, that our artificial intelligence has with students. Obviously, there are many more. And this is a service that is super well received by students. These are just some of the comments that they've shared with us, but we engage with hundreds of thousands of students every day, and we get really high response rate. So we're seeing 95% opt-in, so really high, 64% student engagement, and our chatbot has also increased persistence by 12% at one of our schools. So as we are engaging with thousands of students at the same time, obviously we're collecting a lot of really valuable real-time data on the student college experience, and we're showing all of that data on our administrator dashboard as well. As Vincent Tinto would say, who is a scholar in the student success space, we are really giving universities a sustainable and scalable way to hear the voices of their students. So these are some quotes from some of our customers, and I'll just end here with some of these testimonials. So one customer saying that our chatbot has produced some of the most profound outcomes he's seen in his 20 years in higher ed. And then here we have another customer who was seeing declining retention rates for the past 3 years. And then after onboarding EdSights and our bot, then they actually saw a 4% increase. And yeah, so I think that's all. I don't want to go over time, but I welcome any questions. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy the 3 minutes, the short time I had to explain EdSights to you.
Great, thank you so much, Claudia. Yeah. So we have some questions in the chat. So I will start with one from Callie. Do they have to choose from the menu, or does it do open text recognition?
So we do both. So when we proactively check in with students, we try to keep it pretty structured because we want to make sure, usually we're trying to figure out a very specific piece of information, and so we want to make sure that we pick up on it. However, we do also understand variations of the question. So we use artificial intelligence to discern the intent of the text message that's coming in. And so I showed you an example of us proactively reaching out to the student, but students can also proactively reach out to us. So we are not only proactive, but we're also reactive. So if a student has a question like, do we need to wear a mask on campus, or our class is online, then the chatbot mascot would also be able to answer to those questions. It's really a two-way relationship.
Great. We have another one from Ashley. When do you know to send the initial text?
Yeah, so right after we onboard a university, that's when we would introduce the mascot to the entire student body. And so we would basically introduce the mascot over text message. Sometimes, for freshman year students, we'll also bring it up during orientation. But really the first text message really explains the purpose of the bot. So it's something like, hey, like this is Max Griffin, your school's mascot. I'm your school's, in an effort to better support you, your school started this program where I will check in with you from time to time to see how things are going and also connect you to the best resource at the right time, something like that. And then we also obviously tell students that they can opt out if they don't want to be part of the program anymore. But again, like our opt-in is super high, so we see about 95% opt-in.
Great, well, thank you so much, Claudia. Without further ado, I would love to introduce Debbie Holzkamp, the founder of Virtanza.
You're muted, Debbie.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, hello everyone. I'm Debbie Holzkamp. I'm the CEO and founder of Virtanza, and we're solving a massive problem in the university system, and that they're not preparing learners for a variety of employer sales roles in the digital world. So we're solving that problem by providing the only white labeled scalable sales training platform and a collection of programs in the university system and directly connected to employers. So a third of all open jobs in America are professional sales jobs. And even right now during COVID-19, it's 950,000 open jobs. And yet only 3% of colleges and universities are properly preparing all kinds of learners for those roles. So we're solving that problem, and we have a very talented team who's scaling up a whole solution in the university system and with employers. We have decades of experience on the sales, technology, SaaS side, and also as instructors. And just a comment to everybody, we are hiring for instructors, curriculum developers, and IT designers. So we have a collection of sales programs throughout the university system. We have over 12 partners right now, on the way to 18, that are up and running with college students and adult learners. So you can find our sales readiness program at any one of these partners, including University of California, the Ohio State, and in process, the University of Maryland Global Campus, community colleges, private universities. And in the collection that we provide universities includes a sales readiness program that is for credit, and also continuing education introduces students to sales technology enabled roles with Salesforce and Groove and automation. And then we also have a sales management, how to go to market with a sales plan, how to build that for the entrepreneur, the mid-market, the large market, coming a sales management too. We have IT combined with sales certification programs at some of our partners. And then we also plug in materials and case studies. We do a lot of case study work with Fortune 500 companies for sales experiential learning, and we plug that in as well to many of our partners. Universities love our program because, first of all, it's ACE credentialed and for credit, and we can launch any of our platform, which is LTI based. We can plug it into any university system within a matter of days, and it also is a low cost, new hire. In it, a collection of Fortune 500 case studies that are real, Salesforce CRM, business development, prospecting tools. We provide certified sales instructors. We also train the trainer at various universities, and we pair graduates with employers. And that's where we're really scaling up and providing even more service there. We also do reporting on student outcomes and placement reporting. This is just a snapshot of some of the digital badges and programs that are in place. So if you're going to any one of these schools or want to be an adult learner and get into a sales program and into a role, a job with an employer, all these badges, by the way, are connected to 1,000 job boards, and you can apply real time, 24 hours a day to any of the employer sales roles that are out there. We are on target to have an employer sales portal up and running by the first quarter of this year and this next year. And that means that we'll be able to pair ongoing graduates with employers for sales roles. So our real goal is to help students get into middle income and above sales roles across industry and across roles. We do that for 13 different kinds of professional sales roles, including sales management. We have Fortune 500 companies in our network that are even needing to hire right now, like Quicken Loans needs to hire thousands in the markets that we serve for sales technology enabled roles. AT&T is coming back into the fold at the end of this month, and AWS needs to hire for cloud technology roles. We have over 140 students who have gone through our programs at the various universities, and they're huge ambassadors. There are many of them already in roles that have graduated from roles with medical sales, technology sales, insurance sales, academic and athletic sales, and you can just see there's a variety here. So We're real excited to answer any questions. We're real excited to work with more university partners and help students to go through the sales career pathway across all life stages. So I thank you. I look forward to your questions, and yeah.
Great, thank you. The first question I'm going to ask is, do you have to be enrolled in a partner university, or can a non-student take a Virtanza class and find a role?
Yes. You don't have to be enrolled in any. We have plenty of programs where you don't have to be enrolled in the university.
Great.
And I'll name a few. University of Pacific is for anybody. Clark Community College is for anybody. Central Michigan is for anybody. University of California, Irvine is for anybody.
Awesome. The next question we have is, how do you partner with institutions? Is it like a revenue share?
Yes, so there's actually a couple of different models. We do have a revenue share. We also have a material fee, and we also have a licensing fee. It just depends on how the university wants to best put the model together.
Thank you, Debbie. Next, we have Genevieve Bellaire, the founder of Realworld. Genevieve, I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Friday. Excited to be here to share more about Realworld. What I thought I would do is actually tell you a little bit about our story and then really just take you through our product, because I think it speaks for itself when it comes to what we're building and how we can help students and recent grads as they navigate the real world. So Realworld is a centralized platform and tool to help propel young graduates to navigate the practical stuff. Things like personal finances, healthcare, taxes, retirement savings, all the things that, truth be told, typically aren't taught in school, and that young adults, after they graduate, enter the real world and have to figure out on their own. Very briefly, our founding story and sort of my own personal experience that brought me into this space was that I was really lucky to get a good education. I'm a lawyer by background, so I went to additional graduate school after graduating from school. But when I started my first real job, I realized pretty quickly that I was educated, but just unprepared for all of these different topics. And so what we've done is we've essentially created this idea of a playbook, which is essentially a step-by-step logic-based flows that help you understand everything from filling out 401k paperwork to setting up your health insurance to getting a credit card for the first time. We covered 5 major topic areas: personal finance, healthcare, work-related things, government-related things, and then this catch-all category we call life, which really is focused on your living situation. Ultimately will be things as well like trust and estates, getting a car, understanding how to buy a house, and the like. And the second thing that we've done to sort of take all of that information and tooling and make it easier for a recent graduate or a senior as they're looking into the world beyond school is created this idea of a life moment, which is essentially a package of these playbooks or step-by-step to-do list instructions to deal with everything from paying back student loans, understanding all the paperwork for your first job, to moving to a new city to start a new career. And so in our personalized platform, which can be customized to some extent for each of our school partners, essentially what we've done is we've created these life moments for our members to go through the product at their own pace and really have a customized experience to navigate everything from early employer paperwork to dealing with things like FSAs, direct deposit, offer letters, I-9 forms, W-4 forms, as well as some of the more challenging things across all of these different topics. So whether it's understanding health insurance and getting from a school plan to a health insurance plan through your employer or through a parent or even a spouse, we've sort of step-by-step identified each of the steps you need to take as a young person to go through this process. So to quickly take you through what one of these playbooks looks like, I'll go through employer paperwork, which we find from our members is really the #1 place where young people, once they graduate from school, trip up across these different topics. So something as simple as a W-4 form, for example. This is the form, if you remember, that you fill out on your first day, helps you figure out how much you have to dedicate towards taxes from your paycheck. And essentially what we've done is we've identified all of the vocabulary that you might see across these different the pages of this document. We've sort of helped you step by step, depending on your own personal situation, understand how to fill out that document itself. We've linked to tools from things like the IRS or Department of Education who've sort of baked in all the education and tools that you need. And we've also created online educational video modules that I'll play for you in a moment that really just give a high level, animated, fun, engaging understanding of these different topics at scale. So something basically as figures out how much understanding your W-4 form, we've really come and created a simple way to understand it from the basics. The W-4 form is all about very engaging, animated, cartoon based. The final thing just to mention is that we actually help you track your progress as a recent grad or as a senior as you're going through these different questions. So whether it's getting renter's insurance or understanding how to build a budget or completing your W-4 form, we've tried to make it as simple as possible to track the real world and really help you set yourself up for success as a young person. We work with about 50 colleges across the country, empowering those young adults and recent grads to take this next step in their career. And we would love to answer any questions that you have here.
Thank you, Genevieve. I'm going to start with this question. Is there a playbook that has become more relevant in light of COVID?
So we actually created an entire life moment around unemployment because, as you can imagine, that's very top of mind, not just for seniors, but also for folks who are a year or two out of school. So everything from unemployment benefits to understanding health insurance questions to finding part-time work. It's been one of our most popular playbooks to date. But what's interesting is just time and time again, it's all about understanding budgeting and sort of what's coming in, what's coming out, and really getting that first foundational financial part of your life together.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Tess Michaels, the founder of Stride Funding. Tess?
Absolutely. Thank you. Perfect. Can you see my screen? Great. Nice to meet you all. I'm Tess Michaels, founder and CEO of Stride Funding. I've really spent my time with mission-driven startups and finance, and actually founded Stride from a fairly personal place. I was actually a graduate student at Harvard thinking about my own financing options and adding up books and housing and tuition. And as many of you realize, it gets very expensive very quickly. And so very quickly started thinking about ways to pay for school that were more flexible, more affordable, and really thinking through what are alternatives to traditional loans. Through that journey, I discovered income share agreements, which are a really unique way of aligning the cost and value of education. But while looking at the different platforms that already existed, I realized most of the players were white labeled B2B solutions, which really just means that universities had to have the capability to be able to, put money forward and actually support and sponsor these income share agreements, and students could only get access if they went to the institutions that offered them in-house. And so what we really sought to build was an end-to-end solution, and really to address where we saw students really seeing this pain point. And I think, what has been really amazing to see is just the value of income share agreements in this marketplace. With the economic uncertainty in the soft job employment market, students really are having a tougher time deciding, is it worth it to go back to school, and are much more cautious on how to pay for school. So we've really seen a spike in demand. We've had about a 4x spike in demand month over month during COVID. What we've really built is an end-to-end solution. So really the goal is to make it very simple for universities. It's plug and play. It's almost like a private loan experience where all they have to do is include this as a menu option, for example, on lender list for their students, and we do everything else. So we'll do everything from the origination and the marketing, the pricing, underwriting, the contracts, the certification and disbursement. Of course, we always fund directly to schools. The servicing, where we actually work with Mohila, which many universities may know well. They actually do all the federal student loan servicing. And lastly, we do career support. That is not something we monetize on. It's just part of our mission. We really do weekly content for our students. We have resume and cover letter support, placement partnerships we're working on now, as well as partnerships with exam prep providers and interview providers. And that really helps students know that they don't just have a provider, they have a partner in this process with them. What I'm most proud of to date is just the diversity of schools, programs, and students we focused on. I know today's talk is really about diversity of founders, and it's really exciting to see that also with our customers. So we funded a number of different programs as well as schools across the U.S. But as a byproduct of that, we funded 75% minorities to date and 85% women. And it's really amazing to think that we're a small part of their journey to really help them build a meaningful career and a meaningful future. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tess. So one question we have is, what have you found is the most common misconception about ISAs?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I think oftentimes folks think that if you think you're going to have a good career, income share agreements are less favorable than a traditional loan product. And that's not the goal here. What we're really trying to do is we are funded by large impact investors, so we actually drive very competitive rates to students. So even from a cost perspective, we really want to ensure that this is beneficial for the student. And then beyond that, it's really just around protection, right? Most of us have health insurance. Most of us have ways to ensure that we really have support systems during tougher times in life. I mean, life is not a straight line. So really the goal here is that this should be a product that works for all sorts of students across different programs, and whether or not you think you're going to have a great career or not. So I think that's the first misconception we see.
Great. And who is the ideal student for an ISA?
Yeah, so in our view, so we primarily look at students with pre-professional outcomes because that way we're not pricing as much risk into their models, right? So if you think about an English major, you may have much more volatility on earnings, whereas where we really focus, as you see on this page, is STEM. So for example, engineers, data scientists, nurses, et cetera, are all really great programs. With that being said, if a university wants to offer it to a broader set of students, we have structures we can put in place to ensure fair rates are still driven to students. And that's just a more integrated system. So,
great, thank you, Tess. Next we have Next we have Femi Adebogun, the founder of ScholarMe. Femi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm going to just switch webcams for a quick sec. Okay, well, that will not work. Hi, so my name is Femi. I'm the founder and CEO of ScholarMe. At ScholarMe, our core mission is making the process of paying for college simple and accessible for millions of students across the country. Today, as many of you know, paying for college is a very fragmented and stressful process for students. You're looking at how do you combine thousands of different aid sources together, everything from FAFSA, state aid, scholarships, loans, ISAs, school aid programs. And for us at ScholarMe, what we've done is built a platform that streamlines this entire process into one simple form. So students are able to apply for thousands of various aid sources with just a single application. We do this through three main tools: the Easy FAFSA tool, our universal application for scholarships, and Find My Best Rate tool. Our Easy FAFSA tool and universal app for scholarships is pretty simple. Students are able to fill out one profile form that then matches them to every single aid source that they're eligible for, from federal aid to state aid. And then they're able to apply for all of those different aid programs through ScholarMe in as little as 5 minutes. They can then apply for hundreds of scholarships using the same profile form and have their applications automated in order to save time. On the lending side, with this many lenders, students kind of run into this problem of how do you choose the best one, whether it's choosing the best one for your program, for your school, or from a pure interest rate perspective. So using the Find My Best Rate tool, students are able to fill out a short form using the same core profile information from their FAFSA and scholarship applications. We're then able to give them personalized interest rates from each lender and ISA provider in our marketplace. And then they're able to compare their options and apply through ScholarMe for the provider that offers them the lowest interest rate. Many times saving students thousands of dollars had they just picked one on their own. Our core goal at ScholarMe is how do we help students make smarter financial decisions? Paying for college is when a lot of people make the first major financial decision they will of their lives. I'm sorry, is my screen still being shared?
It's shared, but we're not seeing the slide switch.
Apologies for that. Maybe. How about now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So paying for college is probably one of the most major financial decisions students will ever make in their lives. And so we help them make smarter financial decisions. Decisions that will include other financial products in the future, everything from student lending to checking and savings accounts for students, as well as helping students get their first student credit card. To date, we've helped over 130,000 students access millions of dollars in aid to pay for school. And by this October, we estimate that we'll hit about $150 million to $200 million in aid facilitated. And we've raised $2.7 million from great investors in order to accomplish that goal. Going forward, we've recently launched a free aid appeals product and financial aid counselors that students are able to talk to as they're going through these trying times of COVID. Thank you.
Thank you, Femi. Does ScholarMe only work for certain schools, or can you look for scholarships at all US schools?
Every single school in the country.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Next, we have Michael Broughton, the founder of Perch. Michael?
Hey, thank you, and nice to see everyone. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So hi, like Tia said, my name is Mike, founder of Perch. And before we begin, I'd like to tell you guys a quick story. When I came into college, undergrad, I was $10,000 short on my tuition. Coming from a big family, very low income too, we really had no idea how to pay off this $10,000 price tag. We spent a lot of time, working. My family picked up new jobs. I picked up 2 jobs, started trading crypto even, but recognized that these ways were just not a true way to cover this 10K price tag before I started university. We learned very soon that the best way to get into university was to get a personal loan. And when we approached about 6 different institutions, they all told us the same thing. You cannot get a personal loan until you have a credit score, but you can't get a credit score until you have some type of financial product that helps you build that credit. This chicken and egg problem really made it difficult for myself to get into university. I realized a lot of students face the same problem. After talking to about 3,500 students in 2 case studies over a 2-year study across 6 universities, we learned that a lot of students, not even a socioeconomic problem, but just students in general, are not building their credit. We learned very quickly about 73% of students on average across socioeconomic classes are not building their credit, and regulations have really made it hard for students to do so. And as well as we all know, there's a college financial crisis happening right now, where there's about $2.1 trillion in unpaid student loan debt to the US government alone. My team and I spent a lot of time building out a very scrappy company called Credit Starter, where we were helping students plug into credit repair companies and build their credit. We won about $100,000 in pitch competitions to help supply this just quick demand of students coming to us asking for us to build their credit. But we wanted to build something more scalable. In time, we ended up building Perch, a platform that helps young adults build their credit and learn finance through non-traditional ways. We report recurring payments like your rent, utilities, phone bills, Netflix, Hulu, and even Spotify to the bureaus every month to help you build your credit automatically. We also debitize subscriptions and credit cards, allowing people to really just automate that functionality of building their credit over time without having to really worry about how they build their credit or the process behind, the bureaus engaging with you on your credit score. We also enable our students to have savings accounts, learn financial literacy through videos, and a lot more on our platform. Here's a quick picture. So on the front page, you're going to see the build page. This is going to show the user their current credit score and actionable steps that they can take to start building their credit. On the left page, they're going to see a high-level glimpse of where their savings are, where they're spending their money, and savings. One key point that we have a lot of the time is Starbucks and how much people spend on Starbucks every month. People are very surprised by these numbers. And on the right, this is my most favorite page, is our financial literacy page. What we've done is we worked with a series of financial advisors to create 30-second long animated clips that teach students about taxes, stocks, savings, 401ks, and everything else that you can think about. For example, our stocks category will start with the first video talking about what are blue chip stocks and how to invest. But by episode 6, even though these are 30-second long videos, we're talking about futures, options, spreads, risk analysis, and really letting our users get deep into this content with micro-learning, really expediting this process. And the best part is that this platform is completely free. We never plan to charge a student, young adult, or anyone who hops into our platform to begin their credit journey with us. Here's a quick video on how rent works, one of our core features that helps you build your credit in under 2 weeks. There it goes.
You need a good credit score for a lot of reasons. To take out a loan, pay for tuition, or qualify for better credit cards. What if you don't have a credit score yet? You can't do any of those things, especially considering loan and credit card payments are how you build your score in the first place. Through Perch, you can escape this chicken and egg cycle of building credit. And you can build it by continuing to do what you already do, pay rent. Once you're all signed up, just go to the build feature to begin your credit building journey. All you have to do is upload an ID and lease and let us know how much your monthly payment is. This could be from an older place you stayed at or the place you're living in right now. From there, we'll verify your payments by matching this information to your bank transactions. Now, just sit back and relax. You'll see your score grow in as little as 2 weeks. Everyone deserves to have good credit. And with Perch, you can start building it today.
Awesome. And yeah, and that's really the essential pieces of our platform. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you guys.
Thank you, Michael. We have a question that's been upvoted, so we're going to go with that one. Have you considered making versions that are appropriate for even younger kids around 8th grade to help them begin to prepare for college early?
Yeah, no, exactly what we're doing. So a lot of our content will focus on the college to 26-year-old demographic, but we're currently creating content for the younger age as well. We're looking to work with schools in Arizona actually as a beta test to see if our content really fits that demographic.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. Next, we have Amanda DoAmaral, the founder of Fiveable. Amanda?
What's up, everyone? My name is Amanda. I am the founder of Fiveable. I was a former teacher. I taught 9th and 10th grade history in Oakland, so really everything about Fiveable stems from my time in the classroom. And so what we are doing is using social learning to democratize education. If you think about learning at home, it happens before COVID. That's what after school looked like. But also now, of course, this is what a lot of students are experiencing. Just complete stress around, what do I need to know? Am I doing this right? I don't get it. It's an isolating experience for kids. And so with Fiveable, what we've been able to do is actually bring students together, and not through schools or through their traditional, groupings of how they're organized, but rather directly to the students to create learning communities so that they can find other kids who are studying the same thing at the same time anywhere in the world. Ultimately, the kids come for the content. We create a number of study guides and videos and live streams, but it's the community itself that they stay for, the peer support, the chats, the collaborations. A quick peek of what it looks like and what it will be looking like too with some of the updated versions. We have live reviews that we do. We're working on entire courses essentially this year as well. Study guides, videos, playlists of what they need to study. Some of it is created by us. A lot of it is also curated from anywhere else on the internet. And the idea is that whatever you're studying, you should be able to, one, not feel like you're alone, and two, be able to connect with another student that needs to know the same thing right now. And in the community feeds, that's what allows you to connect with those students, whether it's in a group chat or in just a general community feed. So we actually tested this out with AP. We've done this for the last 2 years, just focused on the 3 million students that take AP in high school. And with that, we've actually been able to reach about 30% of all AP students, just going directly to them, and 6x our growth year over year, both in revenue and in total visitors from our site. And what we noticed after 2 full years of scores, the AP students actually improved their test scores dramatically. So we've actually hit this 92% pass rate several times now. And part of that is just because they're able to actually connect with each other and ask questions. So it doesn't matter if your school is not offering the support you need. The way that we've reached the students is just completely directly, which means that we have $0 acquisition costs. We've really focused on organic traffic, teacher referrals, so teachers assigning our content or suggesting to students that they check out Fiveable. And then brand love. If you check out any of our Twitter, any TikTok, any Fiveable social media account, you'll see the students are constantly posting about us and spreading the word. We've really created a group that is building this along with us and is getting their friends to join too. And from here, after we've finished AP, we're still going to be growing in AP, but also focused on how do we expand into the rest of high school, into post-secondary college or other training programs, and then eventually into global expansion. There are students everywhere that are, not getting the education they need and could be if they could connect with other students. So ultimately right now, we want to be the platform for high school students to learn together. And long-term, we want to be the social learning space for all students globally. Our team is just truly awesome. We're based here in Milwaukee. Like I said, I'm a former teacher in Oakland, and the rest of us are very data and design focused. And very student focused as well, student first. So we actually have about 800 students that have been building this new platform with us this summer. These are high school kids from across the country that have joined essentially our product team to support building what it is that they truly want. So we are actually listening to students, whereas we've noticed a lot of other platforms or schools are just not. So we'd love for you to join our movement. It is really a movement that we are building that is student-led. And so any way that you can help us build partnerships to reach more students, mentors for the team, and then we'll be raising another seed round coming soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. How will Fiveable look differently for K through 12 versus higher ed?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to high school students, we are focused on, either way, it's very much like it's a student-based social network. And so just like an AP students subreddit versus like a college-themed subreddit, those just look different in terms of the content that they're talking about, but the actual features that we would have to bring kids together and to organize them and create spaces for them to collaborate looks the same. And so we're not thinking about how we fit into the school day. We're thinking about how we fit into outside of school. And so it will honestly look very similar, other than the content itself that kids can share would be different.
Gotcha. And are drivers for success for high school students dramatically different from K through 12?
I think for all students, I think the main driver for success that I saw in my classroom and that I've seen at Fiveable is the community aspect. For a kid, a lot of times you're kind of on your own on this island where maybe your teacher is helping, maybe they're not, maybe your school is supporting you, maybe they're not. And so when you just feel like you're by yourself, who do you ask questions to? Many students don't have parents that could help them or supports at home that can help them. And so they end up just like browsing the internet, looking for other students or joining different group chats. And so I think for all students, being able to see yourself in the content that you're doing, being able to know that you're not alone in your journey is the biggest driver for success that we've seen.
Great. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Vishal Punwani, the founder of Sophia. Vishal?
Hey, how's it going? I'm going to share screen here. Amanda, I love what you're doing. Let's see here. Can you see?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So hi, everybody. Thanks for coming this week. I'm Vish, and I'm the CEO of Sophia. Let me make sure my clicking works. So at Sophia, we exist for one reason, and that's to help students reach their learning goals. And we do this by making life easy for educators, administrators, and of course, students. And this is more important than ever in the COVID world, right? I mean, the COVID world is tough, and it's tough for a few reasons. For one, as educators teaching remotely, we have far less insight into what's happening with our students, who's doing what, who's doing well, and who's lagging behind. And for two, it's hard to connect with our students the same way that we used to. And our students are facing problems too, right? I mean, they are super unengaged with their current online learning. Video school is just not cutting it for them. And who can blame them? They're actually yelling about this all over Reddit and all over social media, and there's a ton of gap years happening. Their current learning experience is just not engaging. And finally, students lack the social and collaborative learning that they crave. Yes, video helps, but it isn't what they're looking for. Okay. That is all pretty bleak. So what do? Well, for starters, don't worry, because Sophia's got you covered. For one, Sophia helps you to know how every student is doing. You'll get continuous analysis of all of your students that you can view on an aggregate or a per student basis. You get to improve your curriculum by seeing exactly how it's being interacted with, down to the page or the second. You don't ever need to be in the dark again because Sophia gives you the best analytics you could possibly get. Second, Sophia tells you what content out there on the web your students are engaging with. Otherwise, you'd have no idea. And because of the continuous analysis, Sophia can recommend the best content out there to your students so that you save time. Third, Sophia gives your students a place to learn that they love. Sophia becomes part of their solution rather than another one of their unengaging problems. And in Sophia, they also get learning science-based tools such as automated note-taking, spaced rep flashcards, and the ability to write directly on their videos, all usable inside your own university's curriculum. And finally, Sophia makes learning socially as good online as it can be in person. Students can see where their friends are in Sophia. They can type or watch together. They can play flashcard games for invisible learning, and they can get together and just chat. They can even come together in a virtual space with faculty for small group teaching sessions or just to hang out with their friends. But don't take it from me. This is Michelle, one of the deans of Monash University, one of the best universities in the world. They started school on Sophia this year, and for the first time ever, they haven't had a single dropout in their school. And this is during the pandemic. We even get random messages from students who love Sophia just to talk. This is basically the equivalent of hey you up for a company. It's a good thing. So don't be afraid to say hi. We would love to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Vish. Are you able to measure the efficacy of suggestions, and what sort of data provides great insights for teachers?
Sure. So let me maximize here. We are really fortunate to get grading information back from universities. And so we use all sorts of funky data science techniques to then back validate the efficacy of content that comes in from the students.
Great. And then our last question of the session from Jamie. How does Sophia integrate with existing learning management systems like Blackboard?
Totally. So we already integrate with a bunch of schools who use Blackboard or Moodle or Canvas. And basically it's just standard LTI. So Sophia just sits alongside your LMS and can give you all of the data and give your students all the tools that they need on your stuff.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our entrepreneurs here for sharing with us a little bit about your startups and the important work that you're doing within ed tech. To the audience, we look forward to seeing you all at the ASU GSV Summit in the future and hope to stay connected. Thank you all so much and have a great rest of your days.